Hey there, fellow explorers, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included, Dino Armageddon. Episode 4, Finding a Path Forward. So even though we don't have the actual docks, the docks themselves, just to block it out so you can see, the way these checkpoints are is you have a checkpoint and then like 3 suit docks, and they're going to be roughly like this big. It's not going to take up a lot of room. So what I'm planning on doing after that, I'm going to have proper floors because it's going to be a frequented foot trafficked thing. And then what I want to do is to have a liquid lock to prevent the gases exchanging between the 2 zones. So this is the liquid lock here, and I'll do... How far is that? This is... 9 in. I'll do the same exact sort of 9 in... Oops. Over here. Yep. So that it's... like identical on both sides. There we go. We've got top lock, bottom lock. And then once we've got all that built and dug out, I'll fill that with liquid so it acts like a lock. Then once we have the lock, I'll start digging down into sand and then exploring, you know, up and down. Up, we know, isn't very far. From this spot, it's like, oh, there's a Rex. Perfect. I know where at least one Rex is. Up, we know, is a pretty short run up to the meteor blaster. But down is a long way to go. So as far as breathability goes, we're up to 99%. Nice. Pretty much solved that problem. I'd like to sweep up figs before they just like spoil on the ground. But as you can see, the vines kind of go everywhere. So one way to like plant the wild plants is to dig out an island for them. So if you can envision like this being one of the fig plants, to like give it like a platform that connects to nothing, so the vines can encirculate the platform, and you can create a bunch of figs for free, basically free food, which makes it pretty easy for us to sustain ourselves, given that we have a really small population. What liquid for the airlock? Probably just fresh water. Unpolluted, ungermy water. I don't intend to necessarily incorporate sinks into the airlocks, although certainly we could. I don't think there's a lot of slime out there, and I don't think there's like zombie spores and things like that. Or scrubbers either. So those are 2 that I just... So if you did want to incorporate so what I'm referencing here, just the FYI, even though I don't intend to use them, is the ore scrubber. Is here, and it allows you to kill germs on anything you're holding going through the airlock. So if you're grabbing like slime, you can, well, slime is, but if you're grabbing something that has like germs on it, you sterilize it. And just the way sinks work for dupes. The reason I don't care to do that is like in the Prehistoric DLC, there's not like a lot of germs, especially given that there's like chlorine everywhere. So if you take a look at the germ overlay, I've not found a single germ outside my own dupes. And even in my own dupes, the only germy thing in the entire base right now is the 2 toilets, which is like, yeah, okay, obviously. You know, and then the germs that are in this liquid reservoir, which, you know, there's a lot of germs in there, but we don't intend to filter those out because it's part of a closed loop. All right, Macho. Oh, you're working on this one. I was like, what is he even doing? Yeah, well, now I know. So, bottle emptier. I'll put it on the other side. And this is a pretty standard liquid lock. Keeping it simple. Okay, our CO2 problem is pretty much resolved. So now we just need the filtration medium to be solved. Sushi, leveling up again? Because I don't really need to do crop tending, I'm going to give you ranching. Because I think in the near future, we'll probably want to get a Rex for atmosuits. Once I have this lock built, we can go through the abyssalite and phosphorite to get to this Rex. That was weird. 2 printable noises? Pete. Alright. Calling summary. What did you want to tell me? Nothing? Cool, thanks. I don't know. Kiss is a life lesson to be used whenever you can. Yep. Especially given that we're under the gun. You know, we die in 176 cycles, so I want to keep it as simple as possible. So, speaking of simplicity, here's a big question. To contextualize this question, for us to be able to deal with the asteroid that's coming to kill us, we need to make intracosmic blast shot. The intracosmic blast shot needs either petroleum or biodiesel. The other stuff doesn't really matter because I have it readily available. There's plenty of metal and plenty of peat and fertilizer. But we'll have to decide whether we go the petroleum route or the biodiesel route. The petroleum route is relatively more straightforward in that we get to oil, we process it. The biodiesel route is a little bit more complicated, and there's a bit of RNG involved because the secom are kind of annoying to find. Secom plants in this DLC are buried objects that are only in some of the biomes. And I don't even see one such biome yet. So in order to do biodiesel route, we would have to search for secom somewhat frantically, but it might be easier to get the secom and process it into biodiesel than it would be to process petroleum. The other advantage of petroleum is there's a lot of other use cases for petroleum, where petroleum can become part of what you use for your jet suits or plastics. Whereas if we want plastics, and I mentioned this before, Drecos make plastic really, really easy when you're not in one of these DLC worlds. Plastics are a lot harder to come by in this playthrough. So you can process plastics from resin, and you can get resin by farming. It's a crop, a plant I have yet to find here, which is farmable, but like kind of annoying to farm. So you can get resin that way. So if we didn't end up doing petroleum for our blast shot, and we could go the route of biodiesel, but it means that plastic becomes a little bit more complicated to get, which is fine. But obviously without the glossies, you know, plastic's more annoying. So the question I have for you is, what fuel to use to blow up the demolior? Biodiesel or petroleum? Have you guys vote, and I'll leave you 5 minutes. So I've kind of extolled the virtues of both. Biodiesel is somewhat unique to this biome, but it can be a bit of an RNG and a bit of a pain to process. Petroleum is a little bit easier, but I would have to explore down to get it. But one of the byproducts, of course, is plastics become a little bit easier. I'm totally fine going biodiesel. Totally fine going biodiesel if you want. Just petroleum is obviously more tried and true and more straightforward. Might be easier, but I'm happy to do the hard one. I don't care either way. But both of these require exploration regardless, because I would need to find either oil or secom. All right, how's our research coming along? So we are getting improved ventilation, and then hazard protection is the only one left. Nice. Some good progress. Hey, Glitch, thank you for the cheer, and welcome. So this lock is set. This lock is almost set. In that sense, finding oil is a bit of RNG as well, but a little bit less tedious. Yes. Yeah, what I could do is I could try, honestly, for both, to see whatever I find first. I don't really mind leaving it up to RNG of, like, whatever I find first, I find. That works for me. Alright, let's do ladder down this sand. This is carbon dioxide, so that's fine. I don't really care about carbon dioxide. I don't necessarily want to tap into hydrogen gas, because hydrogen gas, of course, is, like, icky on the eyes. Speaking of which, so is chlorine, so I don't want to hit the bleach stone either. So I'm going to get this sand, but leave everything else alone. I could get salt, though. So, this is our initial mining just for the filtration medium. Have I uncovered anything new? That's a lot of water. Unfortunately, it's also mixed with brine. It's a very, very thin abyssalite. Like 1 thick. I mean, I guess that's fine, but still surprisingly thin. And then this is the infectious oxygen. And then at least we know where 1 Rex is. Alright, food has been pretty stable. And with the overgrowth figs that we tapped into, I think we'll be in the net positive. The next question is, like, when to upgrade our power grid a little bit. Because we could tune up the manual generator with refined nickel and still run on the wheel, but, like, run on the wheel with more efficiency. Like, that's doable. But as far as carbon skimming goes, we've pretty much skimmed all the carbon out for the most part, other than some of the pulled stuff here, which will be displaced once we have the liquid lock in. The reason I'm not putting the liquid lock in right now is I don't really need soggy feet, and because we're only tapping into carbon dioxide and not something more volatile, I don't really need the liquid lock until we hit, like, volatile stuff like hydrogen gas or chlorine gas, sour gas, etc. Alright, improved ventilation means that we're 1 research away from hazard protection, which gives us the exosuit forge, which means we'll need to get the Rex. Ideally multiple Rexes, because I don't think we're going to really do much ranching as far as Rexes go. We're going to, like, groom them once, and then that's it. Keeping them, like, we can try to feed them, but we need to hunt a bunch of dartles for it, because they want to eat, their diets are essentially dartles. So, here is their info tab. Comfortable range is cold. So one of the issues that we're going to have with this is if we want them comfortable, they probably need to be in a brine ice biome to be ranched, which is annoying for our dupes that are going to get super cold in that area. They eat tough meat, hatches, hatchlings. They basically eat prey. And all the way down here, as you can see, they also eat dartles, which is the more common animal on this tile. And as they eat prey, they crap out brine ice, right? So they produce brine ice. So if you don't have them in a cold biome, you end up with a situation where they, like, pee brine all over the floor, which is annoying. Plus, you're not going to be able to groom them and shorn them if they're not in their comfortable range after their first set of tail feathers are taken. So we need them happy if we want to keep getting tail feathers. Now, what I can do is give them a creature feeder and just feed them, like, whatever tough meat and meat that we got. That's fine. I can hunt lums and dartles and feed them manually. That's okay. Treat them like a zoo animal or whatever, rather than live prey. But the thing is, we really want to shear them for their feather fibers. So that's why we're getting them. So we're likely going to want to ranch them either to have some sort of brine water collection. Brine is not such a bad liquid to have for like liquid locks that have a little bit wider of a freeze and boil range. But these liquid locks here, because they're part of my colony, obviously regular water is fine, because if the liquid here is freezing or boiling, I'm already dead. My dupes are dead, right? Like, there's no, you know, that means I have not controlled the temperature in my base and I'm screwed anyway. What achievement was that? Oh, outdoor renovations. Yep. This ladder was in a new biome. So yeah, we're going to want to set up some sort of small Rex ranch, but likely not in our base. And I'm not really focusing on ranching a whole lot of them. I just want some tail feathers to be able to make suits. Like 10, 15, 20 tail feathers, that'd be fine. I don't need that many. So we're almost at the filtration medium. Is the second ladder at the bottom for a hydrogen generator setup? No. This is for sand. The priority's right here. We want to get sand as a filtration medium for both the deodorizer and the water sieve. Just to make it known, I know I could have just crushed rocks for it. And I'll be getting the rock crusher blueprint soon. I just didn't feel the need to do that right now. Now, if I'm heading up to the Rex up here, one of the other things I'm going to want to do is to have a water pool. Because I know I'll even do it like this. I know that the Rex's, or this whole biome is full of like brine ice and other things that could leak on me. So this is like a leak collection where we can, I'll leave one open like this with a ladder so we can collect, whatever liquids land here and mop them up. So we don't have like soggy feet. I mean, it's weird because obviously we'll have suits at this point and soggy feet isn't a thing, but you know, that's at least the concept. So this will be going like, I want to avoid bleachstone because I don't want to deal with bleachstone right now, but this will be going like straight up this way. Oh, also the megafrons. The megafrons are like kind of like sleet wheat. So they consume chlorine gas. They make megafron grain, which is similar to sleet wheat in that they make the similar types of foods, like the frost buns, etc. So it's like a chlorine-based sleet wheat, for lack of a better term. Pinch of pepper. That should be familiar to anyone that knows oxygen not included. Is there any other new plants? Oh yeah, here we go. Lura plant. So this is the resin plant. The Lura plant grows top down and eats flying critters and produces amber. So they can eat mimicas. So one way to ranch these things is to have a bunch of the Lura plants on the ceiling and mimica, the mimica buds on the ground, and just have mimicas mature and get eaten by the Lura plants. So if we ended up with a biodiesel method of getting blast shot fuel, we would rely on amber from the Lura plant for plastics, because then the amber can be pulverized into resin. Plant pulverized into resin, fossil, and sand, or alternatively, and then of course that resin, liquid resin, can be processed in a polymer press into plastics. So that would be the non-petroleum method of you know, getting plastic. It's basically a Venus flytrap, yeah. A Venus flytrap glued to these ceilings. Oh, hey, secom. We actually found secom. It's pretty rare to find secom in the wild, so secom's an interesting one. It is a plant that is needs to be in water as atmosphere. Doesn't really care what water it is. Its temperature tolerances are very permissive. It's given polluted dirt as a fertilizer, and it produces secom leaf, which then is crushed into phyto oil. So it's this biome's method of getting phyto oil, which then can be made into... so secom directly can be made into allergy medication, which is like not a thing for us anyway, or turned into phyto oil, which becomes biodiesel. So it's cool that we found one. And to that end, I might even want to re-poll this now that we have a source of secom. So one of the other things that I wanted to mention is secom is like pretty rare to find. In playtesting for this stream, like I did hours of digging around for buried objects to try to find it. So the fact that I found it here is kind of amazing. One of the other things is you get more seeds than you put in. So one secom can turn into 2, can turn into 4, can turn into 8. So even finding one allows you to start farming for it. So with that said, now that we have both the Laura plant and the secom plant, do you want me to consider biodiesel? Because it's a lot less of an RNG? Or do you want me to stick with our tried and true petroleum method? Up to you. Hello, little Rex. All right, so we have our filtration medium, and that should allow us to get the... Oh yeah, the water siev's already doing its thing. So in the liquid reservoirs, you can see there's lots of germs in that water, but that water is never drank by dupes. It just cycles back through the plumbing. So it's not a problem, in other words. Oh, bisylite storage, not allowed. All right, let's fix that. Filtration medium, sand is fine. Abyssalite is fine. No polluted, no rot. Copy and paste. So now there's somewhere to actually put the abyssalite. So we can actually swoop it up. I didn't realize we actually mined abyssalite to get that. But yeah, that makes sense. We also have salt. I could crush up salt and put it on the tables, but like, morale is not a thing. Like 27. Like, holy hell. Morale is not an issue we have right now. Our people are the very inverse. They're way too happy. We need to make them more upset. Alright, so the next task, I think, I was originally going to go Rex's, but I think getting a secom farm is more important so that we can start the biodiesel process, because I see that you guys are voting for biodiesel. So yeah, I'm going to work towards that. Start farming Laura and secom. Alright, so in order to do that, I'm going to want to dig another mining path. Actually, you know what? Let's just make this simple. I'll dig here. And then drop a ladder down. So we're trying to get here. And I also would like to mine up as much polluted dirt as possible. Because polluted dirt is one of the reagents for like the secom fertilizer. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And then we'll actually, in order to not have the temperature of biomes to get ruined, I'll mine like that. Stay in the basalt layer to separate these two layers out. But I will be tapping the hell out of this area. There is polluted water, not a big deal. So we're going to want to set up a a farm for Lura and a farm for secom, right? I'll maybe make the secom farm here. So I'm going to delete these two. Leave the wild plants alone, because of course the wild plants need to stay. And use this water for secom farming. So the secom itself doesn't actually use water. It just needs to be in water. So if you take a look at it, it can be cold or hot, doesn't matter. Temperature is not an issue. The atmosphere needs to be water, but it is given polluted dirt as fertilizer. And then you get secom with a 10% chance for seeds on harvest. So there's a feedback loop there, which is what I was referring to. Whereas the Lura plant, also same sort of seed feedback loop. So getting these farmed early on will give me more biodiesel in the long run, because we'll be able to resow it. So one of the things I wanted to do, if we end up secoming here, is what I would like is a farm tile upside down, like, oops, upside down, oh, come on, like this, where the bottom has a layer of water and it's too high, which means this door is going to probably get removed, and then the top can be fertilized from the top. Basically, I don't want to have to swim to fertilize it. So we're going to let this water like slosh into place here, if that makes sense. And probably in this one spot we'll have a ladder. So if you can't visualize that, that's fine. And I'm going to focus on secom first, because biodiesel is more important than plastic. Biodiesel is what we shoot the demolior down with. Plastic is just a nice to have, as far as I'm concerned. So you can kind of picture this whole area filling up with water. And then being able to fertilize from above, so we don't have to swim every time we fertilize. Oh, you're stuck, aren't you? Hold on, that's my fault. Help him out, thank you. Just dig your way out. There we go. Blueprint. I guess sandstone? Not printing up dupes means sometimes the choices are slim. Nice. Happy that the water filter is working intended and has a feedback loop and is able to supply us with all that we need. Now, in terms of germs, the water that we're feeding into the system is obviously germy, but like magically you can wash your hands with germy water and be germ free. Just oxygen not included at its best. Don't question it. In other words. Why are you're okay. You were just thinking really hard. All right, the other thing we're going to want here is, so I don't really have control. I don't have a way to make sure that this water doesn't like completely overflow. So that's a thing to think about, because I don't want to have to deal with a big mop up. So I'll probably end up digging around here like this to excavate more room for it. But this is essentially where the secom farm is going to be. And then I'm not going to worry about the Lura just yet, because I'm going to focus on the excavation down to the secom layer. This is pretty temperate, so I don't need to worry about the temperature. And it has oxygen, so I don't really need to worry about the oxygen because this is on the other side of the airlock. But with that said, it might be a good idea to start considering a liquid lock here. So I'm going to sweep up the dirt at 9, and then start making a liquid lock in that spot. I'm not going to worry about the wrecks just yet. The research for the exosuits is almost done. 3/4 done. It's funny that the it'd be cool if you could have a farming tile that like went up and down. I mean, I know it would be like one spot, 2 plants. It doesn't really make sense, but that would be neat. All right, Macho, it's all up to you. I got pretty lucky finding the secom down there. Got my blessings that I can farm it, process it, and then make it work for me. So the other things we're going to need in the process of that. Thinking big picture. So the phyto oil needs the plant pulverizer. And then the complicated bit is the... in order to make the biodiesel, we need the emulsifier. Which... where is it again? Emulsifier is here. And why that is more complicated is the emulsifier requires glass to be built, which then it means we need a glass forge, which then it means we need power cables capable of at least 2 kilowatts or greater than 1 kilowatt, which we do not have yet. We also probably really shouldn't consider building those things without a more robust power grid, because right now our power grid is literally 1 manual generator. I'm trying to keep it very simple, but we'll outgrow that single manual generator. What I was hoping to do is, as we explored, we would find vents or something that could be useful for power, but that just hasn't been the case yet. But what else is everyone working on? Composting. Storing water and then research supply. That makes sense. You're researching. Okay, yeah. I don't think anyone's doing anything dumb or wasteful. I was considering potentially setting up a refrigerator, but given that we don't have too much food spoiling requiring composting, and we are still in the net positive of food as far as I'm concerned, I'm not worried about that at the moment. Don't worry, don't forget some kind of dirt storage. Yes. So for the secom, I will have like a storage bin here for polluted dirt. So let's actually build this storage bin and keep the... because this will be underwater. Keep polluted dirt there. Once it's been water dumped. I don't want to set it up until it's underwater though, because we don't need yucky lungs. So as I'm approaching the secom and the Lura plant, I'm not going to mine up this polluted dirt until we have proper storage for it. The same way you would treat bleach stone or any other sublimator. Well, I guess this is not a sublimator. Well, I mean, it sort of is, but I don't think it's classified as such. It does outgas. What I mean is like a solid that produces gases, like bleach stone or oxalate. Wait, what research are we... Oh, I didn't mean to switch to emulsification. Whoopsie! My bad. Go back to hazard protection. I was clicking around to show you the research paths for this stuff, but I didn't mean to actually swap. Well, this oxalite is definitely helping us breathe around here. Macho, what are you working on? Oh, you were mining that path. Okay. So, this is 18, 19, so 21 tiles of water. Okay. I'm just want to make sure that I don't end up having the water come up the top here. One thing I could do is just like tile top it before I breach it. And then I can level up make sure it's leveled out. Because if I can avoid having to do any plumbing, that would be ideal. Building temporary plumbing is annoying. I was hoping coming down to the secom, I see some fossils, but I don't see anything else that looks actually interesting. Some sulfur. Sulfur is a chemical element and byproduct of natural gas. It's in solid state. So if you're wondering about sulfur, here it is. So sulfur can be phase changed into like petroleum or methane, frozen, etc. There we go. Dig it again. Oh, actually, before we do that, that's going to be annoying to fetch. Quite frankly, as will this stuff. So I'll sweep that stuff up too. I'll set this to 7s. Not urgent, but like nice to have it moved out of the way. And all my bins are still sweep only, yeah? Yeah, okay. Basically, I'm only sweeping areas that decor matters, and everything else I don't care about. I did cap the ladder, didn't I? Yep, that I did. I'll uncap it. Alright, hazard protection finally got done. So, once we have refined metals, I'll be able to actually do the suit checkpoints, but without the tail feathers, I won't be able to, actually make the suits themselves. So, for tail feathers, we're gonna need, ranching research. There was a bunch of other research that I wanted, like, prior, though. But I'll get ranching now, because I know I'm gonna want that for the Rexes eventually. I am glad that Much is getting pleasant chit-chats. I mean, despite the fact that he's on like a night owl schedule, it's not like he's like so secluded from the rest of them. And our closed water system is keeping things pretty simple. Pretty straightforward. So, breaching into this area has some pretty pressurized gases, like ear-popping levels of nasty. So mining out this polluted dirt as much as I might want it might be uncomfortable. Because that's a lot of polluted oxygen that's going to like burst forth if given the opportunity. So that's good to know. And I'm just looking around to see if there's other, like, ticking tongue bomb burst levels of polluted oxygen. Now, I think that there's a case where if you have the... Yeah, like this here. Oh my god, 14 kilogram per tile. Yep, that's, Oh, here's another animal. Jabbo. So this is another predator. The jabos eat pacus and produce rust. So here, as you can see, they don't care what kind of pacu it is, and they make rust as a result. Which, if you wanted a ranch jabo, you could obviously use, you know, rust for oxygen. And yeah, make sure that we turn off composting soils for polluted. Yeah, we don't want to process that. Reduces polluted dirt, rotting foods down to dirt, and we'll want to disable that for the secom. You're right, indeed. Ah, free nickel. Sure. There we go. Finally doing some of the sweeps. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Dino Armageddon, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow dupes.